everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Reapy, and today we're going to be taking a look at all of the sharpshooter skills and ranking them in our tier list. So we're going to begin at level 5 and go all the way up to the level 25 skills. Our very first skill to talk about is Sniper. Sniper increases the damage of all of your weapons by 25% when you are standing still. This one is quite strong for Sharpshooter. A lot of the time you can pause to take a shot and then continue on moving. You don't necessarily have to stay in one place constantly with this. The way that I use it is usually by running a short distance, stopping for a second, taking a shot, and then running a short distance again. That at least lets me keep some mobility, and it lets me have a lot of damage. 25% increase in damage is kind of a nice bonus, although a lot of other classes have this and it's just a passive. This one has an extra step to it, so I don't think it's as strong as other classes' damage bonuses usually are, but it's still not bad, and I'd probably put this one into B tier. Oh, and I forgot to change the background again. One moment. There we go. Alright, let's move on to Marksman, which is our other level 5 skill. This increases your shooting speed by 25%, so you can fire the guns faster than you normally would. And your movement speed is increased by 10% whenever you're using a perk-related weapon. This one is also pretty good. It's good for keeping you alive. 10% bonus movement speed is better than nothing. It doesn't make it so that you can outrun anything in the game, though. It just makes it so you do have some extra mobility so that you can get from place to place a little bit easier, and that you can potentially make some space if you're getting chased by small things. However, like a Raging Flesh Pound or Raging Stray can still catch up to you and can still kill you just as fast as they normally would. So it's not like a safety perk similar to some other, I guess it's more passive skills than like how Gunslinger has enough movement speed to simply outrun everything. Sharpshooter doesn't get that option, but this isn't a bad overall perk. The faster rate of fire can help. It does help with something like the FAL or the M14, or even weapons like the Winchester and the center fire, because you can shoot them quite fast. Single shot weapons this really doesn't help with, because it doesn't matter how quickly you shoot when you only get one shot. So the crossbow, the compound bow, the railgun, and the 50 cal all don't really benefit from marksman all that much. At least in terms of shooting, they do benefit from the move speed. I'd probably put this one also into B tier with Sniper. It's not bad, but could be better. Then we have our level 10 perks. First up is Stability. Stability increases your damage by 30%, movement speed by 50%, and reload speed by 20% when crouching while using a perk weapon. This is really good if you pair it with Sniper, because you get another bonus in damage. This also counts towards reload speed, which is great because a lot of the sharpshooter weapons reload rather slow. With this, it makes it a little bit easier for you to do that. And again, you don't actually need to be crouching the majority of the time. I often don't do that too much with using Stability unless it's on specific maps or in specific areas of maps. But you can still be moving around and then crouch to reload really quick, or crouch to get a couple shots in from, well, any of your rifles. So this one's pretty decent, but it does come at another kind of extra step to be put in. It is a little bit better than Sniper. I think I'd put it slightly higher than that because it does give you some bonus, but I don't think I'd put it into A tier because not every map is really great for you wanting to crouch and sit there. Our other level 10 is Ballistic Shock. Ballistic Shock increases the stun power of all of your perk weapons by 100%. This can be kind of useful depending on the weapons that you like to use. It's good on the M14 and it's good on the FAL. On most other weapons, it honestly doesn't matter all that much. The center fire doesn't need it because you can kill enemies faster than the stun will really take effect. The 50 cal, the railgun, both will likely kill enemies with one shot, so you don't need this. The crossbow already has extremely high stun power, so this doesn't really help it all that much more for getting the stuns. You're almost guaranteed to hit a stun on something like a Scrake or even a Flesh Pound after 1 or 2 bolts. It's really just the M14 and the FAL that benefit from Ballistic Shock. Everything else doesn't as much as it normally would. Everything else either does high enough damage where it doesn't need it, or already has incredibly high stun chance that it doesn't need it either. So I'd put this one into C tier. I find it rather underwhelming. Then we have Rack 'em Up at level 15. Rack 'em Up works the same way it does on Gunslinger. For every headshot you get 10% increased damage, stacking up to 50% extra damage. This can be really good on certain weapons. It's really good on any of the fast shooting weapons. It can be paired with some of the harder hitting weapons. I know some people like to pair it with the railgun or the 50 cal. I find that to be a bit overkill, and it's usually unnecessary for most enemies. It does help a lot in boss wave. This one is best with, again, the M14 and the FAL. It benefits the most from that. So you can still use Rack 'em Up and get a decent amount of damage out of Sharpshooter, but I honestly think it's a worse perk overall on Sharpshooter than it is on Gunslinger, where Gunslinger can make better use of it. Sharpshooter can make good use of it with certain weapons like the FAL and the M14. Even like the centerfire and the Winchester get some bonus. I'd still probably put it into A tier because 50% increase in damage is a nice buff to those particular weapons that can use it, but it's not necessary on the more heavy hitting weapons that Sharpshooter has. Then we have Tactical Reload. Tactical Reload increases the reload speed of all of your perk weapons. This is by about 30%. This helps, especially if you combine it with stability. You can reload things like the lever action rifles incredibly fast then. The M14 reloads extremely quick, but it really doesn't need to. It already reloads quick enough without these. It helps with the 50 cal. It helps with the railgun, although you can reload cancel both of those and get it reloading a bit quicker. It helps with the crossbow. I do like running it with that. It's another nice perk to have, but not entirely necessary either. I'd probably put it on the low end of B tier. Then for level 20 perks, we have Deadeye. Deadeye reduces the recoil of all of your weapons by 10%, and you get 10% increased headshot damage whenever you're using the iron sights of the weapon. Recoil reduction can be nice on things like the FAL and the M14. Most other weapons don't really need it because the shots in between are so slow or so paced out that you can get back on target without too much trouble. And the 10% increased damage is not incredibly great, but it's okay. It's a nice perk to have. I'd probably put this one on the high end of C tier. Then we have Always Prepared. Always Prepared makes it so that you carry one extra grenade and you get 25% more ammo for all of your weapons. Sharpshooter does not carry the most ammo out of their weapons, so this can help, and I usually switch to this later on over Deadeye. The extra grenade is also very useful because the crowd grenade is probably one of the best grenades in the game. It's another perk that's nice, but it's not necessary, and I'd probably also put this one into C tier. So both of the level 25 share the same passive perk to them, and that is that every time you hit a headshot, you have a 5% chance of triggering Z time instantly. This can be super useful for the team. A max level sharpshooter can constantly be triggering Z time, and if you have somebody like a commando to extend it, your team can get a whole lot of value out of that. Assassin makes it so during Z time, you increase all of your headshot damage by 35%. That is really good. You can more easily kill things like flesh pounds and scrakes with this. You're pretty much guaranteed to do it if you hit them with something like the railgun. Or even the 50 cal. The 50 cal is kind of overkill at that point. It also hits really hard on boss wave. And this one is pretty nice. I like the extra 5%, and I'd probably put this one at the high end of A tier. I'm not sure if I'd put it up to S tier. Maybe I would, just because of the 5% chance to trigger Z time. I'm not sure yet though. I think A tier is a fine place for it to be. And then our last perk is Ranger. Ranger makes it so that during Z time, your headshots with perk weapons always stun Zeds. This can be really good with fast shooting weapons like the M14 or the FAL. You can even do it pretty well with the Winchester or the centerfire. For like the bigger guns, if you're going to run the 50 cal or the railgun, probably not the best, then Assassin's usually better, but still pretty good. Being able to stun enemies is always going to be useful, so I would probably put this one on the lower end of A tier, I think. So this is where I would put all of the sharpshooter skills. I think that they have a pretty decent spread of skills depending on whatever playstyle you want to do. A lot of theirs come with like extra steps though, which is a little bit strange since most other perks don't have that. Next up, we're going to be looking at SWAT. That should be fun, and then we'll look at Survivalist after that. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure that you get subscribed. That way you get notifications whenever I post these. Thanks to all of my supporters over here on YouTube and on Patreon. I really do appreciate that. If you'd like to see my other Killing Floor content, be sure to click over here on this video. That'll take you to a full playlist of them. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!